What is going on, PAYTON peeps? Welcome once again to another edition of WWE 13 Experience, and we are just 7 days away now until the road to WrestleMania begins with the Royal Rumble. Monday Night Raw this past week was live from Seattle, Washington, and John Cena opened up Monday Night Raw for the WWE fans in attendance with a match against the Intercontinental Champion, the awesome one, The Miz. If you guys can cast your mind back to last week, John Cena stepped into that squared circle against the big red machine Kane. Whoever came out on top would win the entrant number 29 in the Royal Rumble. John Cena came out on top if you managed to miss that match, and that gave John Cena a huge confidence boost as he goes into the Royal Rumble this Sunday. The question that fills the air is, will John Cena be able to pull off another Royal Rumble win this Sunday? It's going to be very interesting, folks. You're going to have to stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, this match on Monday Night Raw, The Miz against John Cena. John Cena once again showing his dominance in the ring, totally unstoppable, and he's just on a power trip at the moment. And Cena is looking in good form to be main eventing WrestleMania this year. Considering that The Miz has been a tough opponent for the likes of Rey Mysterio as of late, John Cena made quick work of The Miz, opening up Monday Night Raw with a huge suplex off the top rope, followed up with the vintage 5-knuckle shuffle. "You can't see me" was the words that were ringing around the arena at the time, and Cena brings down that hammered fist onto the head of The Miz. It was time to wake up, Miz. It was time to get your attitude adjusted. And that's just what Cena did to The Miz. He lifted him up onto his shoulders with ease, and it was time to eat some canvas, Miz. But we all know that The Miz has main evented WrestleMania in the past. He is a resilient character, but unfortunately for him, he was unable to kick out of the attitude adjustment. And John Cena goes into the Royal Rumble with yet another win. Good luck to John Cena in the Royal Rumble this Sunday. We haven't seen much of the Usos as of late, but this past week on Monday Night Raw, they made their return to tag team action. They went up against the formidable former WWE Tag Team Champions Primo and Epico. With the Royal Rumble just around the corner, just days away, you have to question whether the likes of the Usos, Primo and Epico, or even the WWE Tag Team Champions Cody Rhodes and Damien Sandow, whether they will team up in pairs and take on the rest of the WWE roster. It certainly would be a good idea, but as we all know, there can only be one winner of the Royal Rumble match. So how long will the partnerships of the likes of the Usos and Primo and Epico be able to last in that Royal Rumble? In this match, Primo and Epico looked to try and gather as much momentum as possible, but it just wasn't working out for them. Ever since losing the WWE Tag Team Championships, Primo and Epico, they've entered the slippery slope of losing match after match after match every time they get into that squared circle. And of course, that's just going to have a knock-on effect on their morale as a team. They're just going to lose enthusiasm every time they get into that squared circle. And of course, frustrations are going to be running high between them both.
Epico saw that one coming. A lot of damage being absorbed by Epico. Nicely avoided there. Oh, look out. Jay is about to fly. That's it. He's out.
Jimmy was on the outside of the ring brawling with Epico, whilst inside the ring, Jey Uso nailed Primo with an insane Samoan drop that his father Rikishi would be proud of.
Here are your winners, Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso. What an incredible match. That one could have gone either way. Nobody.
Last week, the game Triple H returned to Monday Night Raw, taking out all 3 members of the Shield with the lead pipe from behind, looking for revenge after what Brock Lesnar did to his father-in-law, Mr. McMahon, the week previous, with F5 after F5. And this week, Josh Matthews interviewed the game Triple H. Triple H wants Brock Lesnar. Also this past week on Monday Night Raw, former tag team partners went head to head against each other. It was Dolph Ziggler against the United States Champion, the All-American Jack Swagger. This past week there was no sign of Dolph's girlfriend AJ Lee. She wasn't in his corner because Dolph decided he wanted to do this all by himself. Dolph has been under some criticism as of late from many people, even some of the WWE superstars. They said that the only reason Dolph Ziggler was winning was because of his girlfriend AJ Lee. Dolph obviously thinks that his pride might be at stake, which is why he decided to go this match alone against the All-American Jack Swagger. One had to question at the time whether or not Dolph Ziggler and AJ Lee's relationship was on the rocks and come to an end. But in this match against the All-American Jack Swagger, Dolph proved to everyone that it wasn't just AJ Lee that was helping him win, it was himself. Maybe people will start to notice that Dolph Ziggler should not be underestimated.
Will it be? 2, 3.
After putting that loss against The Miz last week behind him, Dolph Ziggler picks up yet another win against the United States Champion Jack Swagger, and after the match, who should come out to congratulate him but his girlfriend AJ Lee. This Sunday at the Royal Rumble, Dolph Ziggler will hold yet another open challenge. Who will accept that challenge and face him one-on-one? Before Monday Night Raw went off the air, there was still time for just one more match. It was the WWE Champion, the best in the world, CM Punk, against SmackDown's own World Heavyweight Champion, the Viper, Randy Orton. Come the Royal Rumble, will both CM Punk and Randy Orton be able to retain their titles? CM Punk will face Y2J Chris Jericho, whereas Randy Orton will face Alberto Del Rio. And we all know that the winner of the Royal Rumble gets to choose who he faces in the main event of WrestleMania. So whoever wins it could choose CM Punk, or it could be Chris Jericho if Chris Jericho beats CM Punk, or maybe we could see the Viper Randy Orton in the main event of WrestleMania, or maybe even Alberto Del Rio. Anything could happen this Sunday, but whatever does happen is sure to change the landscape of the WWE Universe. Randy Orton and CM Punk, they've both been on the main stage at WrestleMania. They know what it's like to be in that squared circle in front of 80,000 plus fans. They've had their taste of the electricity that oozes from the crowd. They've had their taste of success, and they still hold the WWE titles. And this past week on Monday Night Raw, the crowd that were in attendance and watching worldwide was in for a main event not to be missed. Randy Orton was on the back foot. CM Punk looked to finish this match off and prove that he is the better WWE Champion. He nails Randy Orton with a go to sleep, that knee right between the eyes, and knocking Orton out. CM Punk makes the mistake of taunting Randy Orton. He goes for the cover after finishing up, but Orton kicks out at the count of 1. After that hard-hitting GTS, CM Punk continues to beat down Randy Orton, tangling him up within the ropes there. He's on the ring apron, springboard, clothesline. He can fly indeed as he goes to the top for his signature, paying homage to the great Macho Man Randy Savage. And Randy Orton catching CM Punk mid-air with an RKO. Surely that was all she wrote for CM Punk. Orton goes for the cover. Will CM Punk manage to kick out? He does at the count of 2. So close to being 3. Randy Orton jumps back on CM Punk, pummeling his skull. There is no rest for the wicked. Orton was on a comeback, and surely this was the beginning of the end for the WWE Champion, who goes into the Royal Rumble this Sunday to face Y2J Chris Jericho. The flick of a finger, Randy Orton was on the back foot once again, and CM Punk could see that. He took advantage and locked in the Anaconda Vice. Considering that Randy Orton was so close to that bottom rope, he had reached his breaking point and had to tap. CM Punk picks up the win. After Punk had left the ring, Alberto Del Rio sneaks up behind Randy Orton, nails him right between the eyes with his World Heavyweight Championship, and delivered his message loud and clear that he's ready for the Royal Rumble this Sunday. Del Rio grabbed a mic after attacking Randy Orton and announced that the attacks to Orton on Friday Night SmackDown were indeed Ricardo Rodriguez. He was the one that was driving the car that almost ran Randy Orton over, not once, but twice. And speaking of cars, the game Triple H was brutally attacked from behind by Seth Rollins, one of the members of the Shield that Triple H took out last week with that lead pipe. And Seth Rollins slammed Triple H's head against that car window, the window bursting into a million pieces, glass shards everywhere. After this attack, the question that hangs in the balance now is, will Triple H be able to stop the Shield? Opening up Friday Night SmackDown this past week, Randy Orton and Alberto Del Rio signed the contract for the Royal Rumble this Sunday, where Randy Orton will be putting his World Heavyweight Championship on the line in a singles match. Fortunately, the whole contract signing went down without a hitch. This past week on Friday Night SmackDown, the bare-knuckle brawler from Manchester, Wade Barrett, went head-to-head against the Great White Sheamus in a Great British Brawl. The great thing about Wade Barrett is he puts his losses behind him and moves on to the next match, and that's what he did here against Sheamus. He focused on Sheamus, who recently has come under some fire from Mark Henry, but Mark Henry was nowhere to be seen this past week on Friday Night SmackDown. Maybe he's getting ready for the Royal Rumble this Sunday, getting into that mindset of winning the Royal Rumble. Big Show was also nowhere to be found, as he last week beat Wade Barrett for the entry number 27, the luckiest number in the Royal Rumble. Both Sheamus and Wade Barrett took advantage of the Great British Brawl rules. The wind was changing in favour of the bare-knuckle brawler, Wade Barrett. He looked to take control of this match against Sheamus, but Sheamus, as resilient as ever, caught Wade Barrett's big foot there and shoved him back against the canvas. He was on a comeback, battering rams across the face, power slams onto the canvas, but that wasn't enough to see off the challenge of Wade Barrett. Barrett, out of nowhere, picks Sheamus up onto his shoulders and introduces him to the wasteland. 1, 2, 3, and Wade Barrett picks up the win. The main event this past week on Friday Night SmackDown saw the #1 contender for Randy Orton's World Heavyweight Championship, Alberto Del Rio, go head-to-head against the #1 contender for CM Punk's WWE Championship, Y2J, Chris Jericho. This match was going to prove to be difficult for both competitors. Both were evenly matched. Alberto Del Rio starting off the match with a few kicks to the thighs of Chris Jericho, but Chris Jericho quickly tired of that and scooped Del Rio up for a big body slam. Jericho and Del Rio, they had to be very careful in this match. The Royal Rumble was just 2 days away. They had to stay as fresh as possible. Del Rio wanted to get the match done and over with as quick as possible, get out that ring and go recoup for Sunday, whereas Jericho wanted to inflict as much pain as possible. Jericho had cinched in that half Boston Crab on Del Rio as he crawled to that bottom rope. He was so close, and he eventually got the rope break. Jericho was dominating though, with a back body drop to Del Rio. Del Rio looked to turn things around into his favour with an enziguri to the back of the skull of Chris Jericho whilst he was stuck at that corner. Jericho could see Del Rio teetering throughout this match, but he underestimated him. Del Rio countered the walls of Jericho a bit later on. Del Rio made a huge mistake as he was taunting Jericho when he was on the mat. Jericho jumps up, locks in the walls of Jericho. Would Del Rio tap? Would he be able to crawl to that bottom rope? He manages in the end to get that rope break. It was back and forth action between Del Rio and Jericho, proving why they both are top contenders in the WWE. Jericho was just edging it with an irate to the face of Del Rio, pulling him back down to earth, back down to the canvas. At this point in the match, Del Rio had nowhere to run and hide. Jericho hit him with a big massive powerbomb, a powerbomb Kevin Nash would be happy about. Went for the cover, Del Rio kicked out the count of 2. Then he went to work on the arm of Chris Jericho, and that could only mean one thing. He was looking to lock in that devastating cross arm breaker, which could come to his advantage this Sunday against Randy Orton in that World Heavyweight Championship match. Del Rio had it locked in firm and tight. Jericho was so close to that bottom rope to get in the rope break and continue in this match, but Jericho reached his breaking point just like Randy Orton did this past week on Monday Night Raw against CM Punk. After beating Chris Jericho, Del Rio celebrated as though he had just won the World Heavyweight Championship. Save it for Sunday, but there was still time for the appearance of the Viper, Randy Orton, who got the last laugh. Guys, you're not going to want to miss the Royal Rumble. Do stay tuned. That is the end of this episode. I do hope you've enjoyed. I will see you in the next one.